Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good Shabbos. I'd like to begin by talking about our Torah portion, which is called Korach. Korach is an individual who challenges the authority of Moses, and it follows last week's dramatic portion, where we have the 10 negative reports, if you recall, and the 2 positive. But the people, they latch on to the negative reports, and they feel they cannot enter the land of Israel. And everyone despairs, and that is why they are condemned to 38 more years of wandering in the desert. After that, there's so much complaining and bickering and whining, and Moses says, I can take everything but not the whining. In any case, there is rebellion that breaks out, and Korach and his followers, some 250 men, challenge the authority of Moses. Moses, why did you bring us here in the desert to die? And we'd rather go back to Egypt. And who made you the leader over us in any case? And Moses decides that it has to be God's judgment. And therefore the 250 followers bring their offerings, and Moses waits to see what happens, and God does decide. And the earth opens up, and they're swallowed. So you might say that Moses sees this as a kind of a affirmation, even a victory. But Moses, being a humble man, compassionate, does not see it that way. He understands the people. He understands that this ever-widening gap between himself and his people is because they have lost faith in the future. They have no hope. They have no direction. In effect, they're saying, give us our land, get us there already, and all of this dissension will stop. And Moses takes all of this very much to heart. Elie Wiesel, and I'm standing in the Elie Wiesel gallery here at Temple Emmanuel, was like Moshe. He was a strong leader, he was a compassionate leader, he was a humble man. And in 2002, he was here with us. And I personally treasure that time, as do so many of our members and members of the community. When we were sitting in my study, and I don't think I've ever discussed this, but I am going to now, for about an hour. I mean, what a gift. And he was going through every president who he had a connection to. He was in and out of the White House, and telling me, relating to me, which presidents were his favorite, which ones were a greater friend to Israel. He was really in admiration and respect for all of them, but it was like a inside kind of revelation. And then we're walking down this hallway to the sanctuary. The sanctuary was filled, standing room only. Kids from the Catholic schools had come there, busloads, and people from the community. And Elie Wiesel said he would come to Temple Emmanuel, which was unbelievable that we could, arrange that and pull that off. As we were entering the sanctuary, there was a hushed silence that this great man, this giant of a man, of small stature, but a giant of a man, was about to enter. And I extended my hand and said, please, Professor, and he was an outstanding teacher. He said, oh, no. Rabbis always go first. I have a respect for rabbis. And so I went ahead of him. But then as soon as we entered the doors, we walked together. I will never forget that time, because he was someone who spoke truth to power, whatever the situation. And he did not become bitter, and he did not become angry. He became infused with a righteous cause. So we sense his loss. It touches each and every one of us. And we're reminded that each and every one of us can also stand up for the righteous cause. And that every one of us has a voice. And the greatest crime is to remain silent in the face of injustice. We're going to have quite the celebration this Friday night. We're going to have a family-friendly service in the sanctuary at 6. We're going to have a Tat Shabbat in the chapel at 6-ish, more like 6. We're all going to go into the courtyard and our social hall for a great beach party. So come ready for a beach party. We will have the sun. We won't have the sand. We won't have the water, but we'll have each other, and we need one another for strength. So come and be with us as we celebrate summer and Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.